Hi, in nanoelectronics today I will talk about quantum confinement. Before this topic we should know some basics of quantum mechanics. As per de Broglie hypothesis, moving electron has wave-like character and wavelength associated with the moving electron lambda is equal to h by p, where h is Planck's constant and p is momentum, which is product of mass and velocity. This equation is called de Broglie matter wave equation. It is one of very important equations in physics. It connects both wave character and particle character of electron. Wavelength tells about wave character and momentum tells about particle character. Rearranging this equation, we will get P is equal to h by lambda. In order to convert this equation into very useful manner for our discussion, I am multiplying and dividing by 2 pi the right side of equation. We get momentum P is equal to h by 2 pi into 2 pi by lambda, where h by 2 pi is modified Planck's constant. It is denoted by h cross. 2 pi by lambda is number of electron waves per unit length. So since the electron wave spread out in three-dimensional space and its wavelength is not same in all three directions, so that number of waves is not same in all three directions. So 2 pi by lambda is a vector quantity and it is denoted by wave vector k. So momentum P is equal to h cross k, where h cross is, this is h by 2 pi and wave vector k is 2 pi by lambda. We know momentum P is the product of mass and velocity. So P is equal to mv. Squaring this equation, you will get P square is equal to m square v square. Dividing by 2m on both sides of equation, you will get this is. You can cancel a m at the right side of equation in both numerator and denominator. So P square by 2m is equal to half mv square, where half mv square is kinetic energy. So I am writing E is equal to P square by 2m. Now you can replace momentum P is equal to h cross k. So energy E is equal to h cross square k square by 2m. As wave vector k is different in different directions, I am splitting wave vector k square into kx square plus ky square plus kz square. So energy of electron E becomes h cross square by 2m into kx square plus ky square plus kz square. As free electron is treated as a wave in quantum mechanics, we can apply theories and laws of wave mechanics to the electron wave also. To understand confinement of wave first, I use one small example. Let us consider one string, red color portion of the diagram string. One end of string is fixed with the ceiling. When you disturb this string, wave motion is executed in the string. As one end of string is free to oscillate, no restriction for wavelength. So wave vector, wavelength, energy in this string all are continuous function. Now we have different situation. Both ends of string are attached as shown in this figure. When we apply force to execute wave motion in this string, every segment of string oscillates with respect to equilibrium position. As these two ends are fixed, they are always settled with equilibrium position. So ends of a string always at equilibrium position. Let us consider one wave motion given in this figure. I am taking this end as 1, this end as 2. So in wave motion, they are always settled with the equilibrium position 1 and 2. So it may be your 1, it may be your 2. So what happened? Length of string is equal to lambda by 2. One more possibility is this second equilibrium position may be this is. That's why length of string is equal to wavelength lambda. Next possibility, this second may shift here or shift here or shift here. So length of string during wave motion for this condition, both ends are fixed. L is equal to lambda by 2 or 2 times of lambda by 2 that's L is equal to lambda, or L is equal to 3 times lambda by 2. So length of string during wave motion is always n times lambda by 2. N can have any value, any integer value, 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. Further, I am rearranging this equation. You will get lambda is equal to 2 times of L divided by n. You can replace lambda is equal to 2 pi by k. So this is 2 pi by k is equal to 2L by n. You can simplify this equation so that k is equal to n pi by L. So wave vector has discrete variation for this confined oscillation. Now very important part in this discussion, I am going to apply confined wave motion to the free electron wave. Let us consider one heterostructured semiconductor in which in between wide gap aluminum gallium arsenide I am sandwiching narrow gap gallium arsenide. One electron is moving towards positive x direction from aluminum gallium arsenide as shown in this figure. Once it find gallium arsenide interface, since energy suddenly falls down, electron goes to lower energy, that's lower energy of conduction band of gallium arsenide. Then again it moves in forward motion. At the interface of gallium arsenide and aluminum gallium arsenide, it finds sudden rise in energy. That's why it cannot be able to jump over it. So it will return back. Again it return back. Like for confined motion, what we learned in previous section is a thickness of gallium arsenide should be is in the order of lambda by 2. So lambda is de Broglie wavelength of electron. It is 24 nanometer for gallium arsenide at room temperature. So in order to produce confined structure, we have to keep this interlayer thickness as equal to lambda by 2. So the situation in which electron is confined in between half of de Broglie wavelength is called quantum confinement. In the confined structure, wave vector of free electron is discrete one, as wave vector is related to energy shown in formula. Energy of free electron also discrete. Already we found that wave vector k is equal to n pi by L. So you can replace this k as n pi by L. Then I will write h is equal to h by 2 pi. Simplify this equation, you will get E is equal to n square h square divided by 8m L square. L is characteristic dimension of material. L should be is in the order of lambda by 2. So for lowermost energy level, I am substituting n is equal to 1, so that E1 becomes h square by 8m L square. This is energy level corresponding to n is equal to 1. Then if you substitute n is equal to 2, you will get next energy level. So space between first and second excited status, this one minus this one, 3h square divided by 8m L square. So within this gap you don't have any energy level. This one and this one discrete energy, there is no any continuous distribution of energy. If you substitute n is equal to 3, you have another one more energy level, that's E3. Likewise you can substitute n is equal to 4 to find E4. To find E5 you can substitute n is equal to 5. So energy distribution in the quantum confined structure is varies as discrete manner. Now based on number of dimensions in which electrons are confined, we can classify quantum confinement into 3 types. They are listed here. For example, in bulk material, electron can move freely. So for this bulk material, there is no any confinement. It is called zero dimensional confinement. It is not under our list because it is not quantum confined structure. In order to produce quantum confinement, you have to reduce dimension of this bulk material into lambda by 2 order. For example, I am reducing x-axis dimension, that's height of this material to lambda by 2 order, so that electron is confined in x-axis and it can move freely in y-z plane. Since electron is confined in only one dimension, that's called this structure is called one-dimensional quantum confinement. This type of confinement is also called quantum well. Now I am reducing another direction to lambda by 2 order. Let us consider I am reducing y-axis dimension to lambda by 2 order. As a result, electron can move freely only one direction, that's z direction, and it is confined in both x and y dimensions. Since electron is confined in two dimensions, this situation is called two-dimensional quantum confinement. For example, quantum wire and carbon nanotube. It's understood if you reduce a remaining one more dimension to lambda by 2 order, you can confine electron within 3 dimensions. It is called three-dimensional quantum confinement. For example, quantum dot, nanoparticle with a dimension lambda by 2 order. Now we have to find the energy distribution in one-dimensional quantum confined structure. We know energy of electron. This is since only one dimension produces confinement, you can apply discrete formula for only one dimension. I am replacing kx into n pi by nx pi by lx. You have second equation. Rewrite this equation. You get E is equal to h cross square by 2m ky square plus kz square plus h cross square nx square pi square by 2m lx square, where nx is quantum number along x-axis. Since ky and kz have continuous values, first term represent continuous distribution of energy band, second one represent discrete energy levels. Structure something different we will discuss. For semiconducting material, since electrons are available from lowermost energy of conduction band, we have to add a lowermost energy of conduction band, that's take EC. In energy distribution diagram, electrons are not filled from EC plus this factor, and you have continuous energy distribution due to first term of this equation. So you have one energy, continuous energy band due to discrete term, second term. This continuous energy distribution breaks and you have another band like another, so that instead of one continuous energy band, you have a number of subbands in the case of one-dimensional quantum confinement. So one-dimensional quantum confinement will not generate perfect discrete energy distribution, so it is partially confined structure. In two dimension, you can substitute both kx, ky with the quantum numbers since they are discrete. So I have only one continuous wave vector, that's kz. So equation becomes E is equal to E continuous plus two discrete energies corresponding to what are nx and ny quantum numbers, so that you have more number of subbands in your energy diagram. In three-dimensional quantum confinement, you can substitute all wave vector into discrete numbers, so that energy becomes like this. In this case, you have perfect discrete energy levels. There is no any continuous energy distribution in the mathematical formula. So it is perfect quantum confined structure. First two, both one-dimensional and two-dimensional quantum confinement are partially confined structure. For this session only I planned up to this. In next session I will discuss about density of states in quantum confined structure. Before completing this session, please note it down. In last session, in first lecture session, nanoelectronics fundamentals, I made a mistake. correct it. In Fermi-Dirac distribution function, I used minus symbol instead of plus. So correct formula this is. So please correct it. I thank Mr. Karthik, one of my students, for pointing this mistake. Thank you. I will bring you another lecture soon.